Hello, guys, me again. All right, so now for fundamentals, we are on to chapter 5, which is basic human needs. So let's talk about basic human needs and what that means. Oops. Okay, so every individual has needs, right? Some of them are simple and some of them are complicated. But when you think about it, they are needs that are simple as like food, water, shelter, clothing, those types of things, right? And they are needs that everyone has. So, not anything special. When we talk about fulfilling needs for patients, there was a psychologist named Maslow who came up with this idea of this hierarchy of needs. And this is something that you need to know. And so he created a pyramid kind of design that breaks down the needs from physical all the way up to aesthetic needs. So physiologic needs, and here's the pyramid. Physiologic needs, that's air, nutrition, food, water, elimination, got to do that. Sleep, okay, thermoregulation, in other words, you've got to be kept warm, right? That's the basic. You can't fulfill any of the others until these are taken care of. So I can't worry about your self-esteem if you're starving, right? Does that make sense? So the base of Maslow's pyramid is all about physiological needs. The next level, safety needs. Shelter, freedom from harm and danger, right? If you're in fear all the time, you're not going to be able to become self-actualized or have self-esteem. So that would be the next level. The third level is affection, feelings of belonging, right? We are social creatures, having meaningful relationships with others, family, friends, coworkers, those kinds of things. The next rung on that ladder, now we get to the esteem needs. You need to have self-esteem, right? One needs to be able to look at oneself in the mirror and go, you know what? I like me or I love me. Okay. That's very important. And then top of this is the self-actualization needs. This is the more complicated one. This is about being able to be self-fulfilled, um, doing things that are the maximum of your potential, doing things that you want to do. Um, it's they consider that an aesthetic need because it's not, I mean, it's a very complicated kind of a concept, right? Self-esteem is complicated enough. When we get to self-actualization, some people are self-actualized at different levels in their life frequently. Some never reach that level, right? Being self-fulfilled, self-aware, being creative, doing the things that you like to do and you want to do, and fulfilling your own potential. Okay. So remember, this goes hand in hand with the nursing process, right? You have to assess what's going on before you can diagnose. You have to diagnose before you can plan. You have to plan what you want to do before you can implement. And then you can't evaluate until you do all of those things. When you're taking care of patients, you have to fulfill the base of the pyramid first. They have to be taken care of. Clothing, water, and those types of things, warmth, shelter, and then love, and then self-esteem, and then that's self-actualization. Okay. So in 1970, he did add, he made it 8 steps instead of 5, which took it a little more in depth and more complicated. He added cognitive, which understanding and exploring life, aesthetic, appreciating order and beauty, and transcendence. That's ability to help other people realize their potential. Those are a little more existential. So we're just going to stick with the base pyramid, the 5 that we just talked about. Okay. And meeting needs is a process and it's never static. In other words, it's never still. And some needs depend on other needs, right? That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? There's the pyramid with those additional things added. Okay. Well, even if we have fulfilled all of those 5 rungs on that pyramid, we have to understand that sometimes patients can experience regression. So regression is focusing on a lower level need that's already been taken care of. So in other words, especially in time of illness or injury. So if somebody's recovering from an illness, they're going to focus on their physical and emotional, they're going to focus their physical and emotional energy on recovery before they can worry about, oh, security, I need money, I have to go back to work. If you're in a lot of pain, you're not so much going to be concerned about putting makeup on as you are about relieving your pain, right? So you have to fulfill the basic need before you can deal with the higher level needs. Okay. Is the following statement true or false? Critically ill clients will continue to seek to fulfill needs in the order of Maslow's theory of hierarchy. If you said false, you were right. So they'll regress. They'll focus on a lower level need because they need to fix whatever's happening before they can get to those higher, more existential needs. Okay. So when we talk about the basic physiological needs, we all need oxygen, right? We all need water and fluids. We all need food and nutrients. Example, somebody who's got anorexia nervosa and they come in, and that's a mental illness. So they come in for treatment and they weigh 65 pounds and they're 5'6". Before we can deal with the psychiatric and emotional things that are going on, we have to take care of their nutrition or we're not going to be able to deal with anything else. Okay, that makes sense. Elimination, and some of these things I'm not in agreement with as far as give an enema or catheterize the person if necessary. You always want to go with the most natural thing first. So make sure they're able to eliminate waste, make sure they're able to get sleep, right? Make sure that they are able, I'm going to go back and look at this from this perspective. Make sure that they're able to get some activity, right? For example, after surgery, frequent ambulation is encouraged, and early ambulation. It prevents developing a DVT, which is a blood clot, deep vein thrombosis. Also can help prevent postoperative pneumonia, right? As far as sexual needs, that's one of in the base of the pyramid, in as much as in order for the species to continue, people have to keep having sex, right? This PowerPoint says be aware of sexuality issues when care is given. I will tell you this, that, certainly there may be times where someone might be sexually inappropriate if they have dementia or so on and so forth. If it's under different circumstances, by all means, if you see something, say something. Temperature regulation. They have to be warm, or if they have a fever, we have to cool them down, right? So just keeping their temperature stable, thermoregulation. These are all that first bottom piece of the pyramid. Now, the second piece of the pyramid, security and safety, okay? They have to be free from harm and free from any type of neglect or abuse. And remember, as a nurse, you're required to say something. If you suspect that something is going on that's putting the client's safety at risk, you must report it, okay? So take preventative measures. Freedom from harm also means don't let them fall. If they're a fall risk, take the appropriate precautions, to make sure that they don't fall. Low bed, a mat on the floor, those types of things. And then healthcare, that's a higher level coping skill. That's planned healthcare is one thing, in other words, wellness, versus you become ill and need unplanned healthcare. But either way, you need to have access to some quality healthcare. Shelter, you need a roof over your head. Homelessness is a big problem in this country. Conduct a comprehensive evaluation. If one of your patients or clients is homeless, you need to get a hold of social services and make a referral and let the physician know so that we can, try to help that patient get shelter, because they're not going to get well if they have nowhere to live. Okay. Is the following statement true or false? A nurse need not report signs of abuse if they believe that it's a matter that can be solved within the client's family. If you said false, you were right. You are legally and ethically bound to report any suspected abuse, okay? You could be subject to arrest if you don't. How about them apples? Okay. Now we got the third level of the pyramid, and that's societal needs and spiritual needs. Societal needs are, we're social creatures, having meaningful relationships, belonging to a group. The group could be your circle of friends or your family. Okay. And we as nurses want to encourage interaction with family and friends. Spiritual needs, doesn't necessarily mean religion. So spiritual needs are very different for every person. If it's belief in a higher power, belief in the universe, or some type of specific religious belief, satisfy that need. If it's religious, contact the chaplain, right? Or get a hold of the patient's personal clergy, right? Or their, whatever religion they are, to make sure that their spiritual needs are being met. The fourth level, this is where it gets a little more complicated. This is self-esteem, right? Understanding your own self-worth, okay? There are, certain issues with illness, sometimes surgery, where your self-esteem or the way that you look at yourself can be negatively affected. Think about maybe someone who had to have an ostomy. That can really affect someone's self-image. They can experience regression, depression, right? Sometimes they get agitated. So just because someone is agitated or appears cranky may not be just because that's the type of person they are, always, dig deep to see what's going on, right? Even patients that we say are non-compliant, there could be a good reason. It could be severe depression, right? And always maintain dignity for your clients. This is something I can't emphasize enough. If you have a patient that had a stroke and they're able to put their shoes on, it takes them a while though, let them put their shoes on. Be patient no matter how long it takes, because the more that they can do for themselves, that adds to their feeling of self-worth and self-esteem. I know it's quicker if you do it, but don't, right? You want to allow them to do things for themselves. Also in chemical dependency, sometimes we see low self-esteem, but it's more of a psychological or psychiatric underlying issue than anything else. Personal trauma, those kinds of things. I'm not even going to address chemical dependency here. Then the fifth level, self-actualization, reaching your full potential. So, like I said, some people can reach it many times. Some people have a hard time getting to it once. So it's all about accomplishments. And it doesn't have to be accomplishment about money or career. It's whatever's important to that person, right? That they've accomplished, and acknowledging that they have accomplished that, right? Giving them a little attaboy or attagirl. That really it means so much to people. You have no idea, right? Take the extra couple moments to talk to your patients. Please be that nurse, be a good person. It really makes a difference in people's lives. Can't say that enough. And then individuals with special needs. Special needs is a very broad term. So here they're saying, someone who's homeless, someone who's terminally ill, someone who is jobless, right? All of those things are, you can't deal with anything else on a higher level until you deal with those things. People that are homeless, especially, they're in danger all the time. They're just basically in survival mode most of the time. So, we have agencies that can help. Make sure you contact social services if you suspect that someone doesn't have a roof over their head. A family unit has needs as a unit, right? So when a family is functioning in a positive way, everybody's kind of working together as a group. If there are children are doing chores, that kind of thing. They have their own needs, the family unit. And then the bigger unit would be the community. And the community, they have needs too. Things like public health measures, being able to get immunizations for diseases to preserve wellness, access to quality health care, safety, having a safe place to live, having emergency services like fire and rescue, those types of things. Those are basic needs for a community. Last question. The nurse can help a client in meeting self-esteem needs by assisting them to get enough sleep, explaining procedures, treatments, or meds, rewarding their progress, feeding the client, reporting signs of abuse, self-esteem. So rewarding their progress, giving them some positive encouragement. A couple kind words really go a long way. Okay. So make sure you know the steps on Maslow's ladder and understand them. Okay. All righty, kids. Well, that's all for now. Until the next video. See you later, alligators.